MTC. Unit 03-01. As you set about to write, it is worth reminding yourself that while you ought to have a point of view, you should avoid telling your readers what to think. Try to hang a question mark over it all. This way you allow your readers to think for themselves about the points and arguments you're making. As a result, they will feel more involved, finding themselves just as committed to the arguments you've made and the insights you've exposed as you are. You will have written an essay that not only avoids passivity in the reader, but is interesting and gets people to think. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 03-02. At a publishing house and at a newspaper you learn the following. It's not a mistake if it doesn't end up in print. It's the same for email. Nothing bad can happen if you haven't hit the send key. What you've written can have misspellings, errors of fact, rude comments, obvious lies, but it doesn't matter. If you haven't sent it, you still have time to fix it. You can correct any mistake and nobody will ever know the difference. This is easier said than done, of course. Send is your computer's most attractive command. But before you hit the send key, make sure that you read your document carefully one last time. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 03-03. When I was in high school, we had students who could study in the coffee shop and not get distracted by the noise or everything happening around them. We also had students who could not study if the library was not super quiet. The latter students suffered because even in the library, it was impossible to get the type of complete silence they sought. These students were victims of distractions who found it very difficult to study anywhere except in their private bedrooms. In today's world, it is impossible to run away from distractions. Distractions are everywhere, but if you want to achieve your goals, you must learn how to tackle distractions. You cannot eliminate distractions, but you can learn to live with them in a way that ensures they do not limit you. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 03-04. Any goal you set is going to be difficult to achieve, and you will certainly be disappointed at some points along the way. So why not set your goals much higher than you consider worthy from the beginning? If they are going to require work, effort, and energy, then why not exert 10 times as much of each? 10? What if you are underestimating your capabilities? You might be protesting, saying, what of the disappointment that comes from setting unrealistic goals? However, take just a few moments to look back over your life. Chances are that you have more often been disappointed by setting targets that are too low and achieving them only to be shocked that you still didn't get what you wanted. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 03-05. The dish you start with serves as an anchor food for your entire meal. Experiments show that people eat nearly 50% greater quantity of the food they eat first. 50%. If you start with a dinner roll, you will eat more starches, less protein, and fewer vegetables. Eat the healthiest food on your plate first. As age-old wisdom suggests, this usually means starting with your vegetables or salad. If you are going to eat something unhealthy, at least save it for last. This will give your body the opportunity to fill up on better options before you move on to starches or sugary desserts. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 03-06. Keeping good ideas floating around in your head is a great way to ensure that they won't happen. Take a tip from writers, who know that the only good ideas that come to life are the ones that get written down. Take out a piece of paper and record everything you'd love to do someday. Aim to hit 100 dreams. 100. You'll have a reminder and motivator to get going on those things that are calling you, and you also won't have the burden of remembering all of them. When you put your dreams into words, you begin putting them into action. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 03-07. We tend to go long periods of time without reaching out to the people we know. Then, we suddenly take notice of the distance that has formed and we scramble to make repairs. We call people we haven't spoken to in ages, hoping that one small effort will erase the months and years of distance we've created. However, this rarely works. Relationships aren't kept up with big one-time fixes. They're kept up with regular maintenance, like a car. In our relationships, we have to make sure that not too much time goes by between oil changes, so to speak. This isn't to say that you shouldn't bother calling someone just because it's been a while since you've spoken, just that it's more ideal not to let yourself fall out of touch in the first place. Consistency always brings better results. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 03-08. 23% of people admit to having shared a fake news story on a popular social networking site, either accidentally or on purpose, according to a 2016 Pew Research Center survey. 2016 Pew Research Center, 2-3. It's tempting for me to attribute it to people being willfully ignorant. Yet the news ecosystem has become so overcrowded and complicated that I can understand why navigating it is challenging. When in doubt, we need to cross-check storylines ourselves. The simple act of fact-checking prevents misinformation from shaping our thoughts. We can consult websites such as factcheck.org to gain a better understanding of what's true or false, fact or opinion. Factcheck.org. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 03-09. You can buy conditions for happiness, but you can't buy happiness. It's like playing tennis. You can't buy the joy of playing tennis at a store. You can buy the ball and the racket, but you can't buy the joy of playing. To experience the joy of tennis, you have to learn, to train yourself to play. It's the same with writing calligraphy. You can buy the ink, the rice paper, and the brush, but if you don't cultivate the art of calligraphy, you can't really do calligraphy. So calligraphy requires practice, and you have to train yourself. You are happy as a calligrapher only when you have the capacity to do calligraphy. Happiness is also like that. You have to cultivate happiness, you cannot buy it at a store. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 03 number 10. It can be tough to settle down to study when there are so many distractions. Most young people like to combine a bit of homework with quite a lot of instant messaging, chatting on the phone, updating profiles on social networking sites, and checking emails. Tins. While it may be true that you can multitask and can focus on all these things at once, try to be honest with yourself. It is most likely that you will be able to work best if you concentrate on your studies but allow yourself regular breaks every 30 minutes or so, to catch up on those other pastimes. 30. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 03 number 11. If you were at a social gathering in a large building and you overheard someone say that the roof is on fire, what would be your reaction? Until you knew more information, your first inclination might be toward safety and survival. But if you were to find out that this particular person was talking about a song called "The Roof is on Fire," your feelings of threat and danger would be diminished. So once the additional facts are understood that the person was referring to a song and not a real fire, the context is better understood and you are in a better position to judge and react. All too often people react far too quickly and emotionally over information without establishing context. It is so important for us to identify context related to information because if we fail to do so, we may judge and react too quickly. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Unit 03 number 12. How do you encourage other people when they are changing their behavior? Suppose you see a friend who is on a diet and has been losing a lot of weight. It's tempting to tell her that she looks great and she must feel wonderful. It feels good for someone to hear positive comments, and this feedback will often be encouraging. However, if you end the discussion there, then the only feedback your friend is getting is about her progress toward an outcome. Instead, continue the discussion. Ask about what she is doing that has allowed her to be successful. What is she eating? Where is she working out? What are the lifestyle changes she has made? When the conversation focuses on the process of change rather than the outcome, it reinforces the value of creating a sustainable process. MTC. Good job!